filibuster today. I promise you that I will keep things just a little bit shorter this time. It was 1 year ago when you reminded me that even on days when it doesn't seem like anyone is listening, or that anyone even knows you're fighting for them, it really does matter. That to people back home, even if they don't see you fighting for them, even if they never even hear that you fought, it truly matters. Looking back 1 year ago today, I still can't explain what it was that captured the hearts and the minds of so many Texans, of so many people around this country. Yes, I had eaten only a hard-boiled egg that day. Yes, my sneakers were pink. And yes, I eventually wore a back brace. But all of these small details are just an afterthought. Because it was 1 year ago today when you inspired me. You inspired me, you inspired this state, and you inspired a nation. You inspired me to believe in something that I'd almost forgotten. That even in tough times, that even if you eventually lose the battle, there's freedom in the fight. There's power that comes from the very act of fighting. Because of you. Was restored. Because of you, my belief that collectively we can make a difference in our state was restored. And even if some believe that a year ago today was some kind of fluke and have since written us off, I will never write you off. Truth to power, to mobilize our energies and our voices to take our state back and place it where it belongs, in the hands of you with its people. And the reason for that is simple, Texas. I believe in you. I believe so very much in all of you. I will never forget that night. I will never forget Senator Zaffarini's eloquent words based on her long experience and knowledge in the Texas Senate about how that filibuster was treated without due respect in an attempt to silence my voice and in the process to silence yours. I will never forget that Senator Ellis truly had my back that day. I will never forget Senator Watson's brilliant parliamentary maneuvering. Zaffarini, Ellis, and West helping to eat up minute after minute as the clock ticked down to midnight. I certainly will never, ever forget my sister, our next Lieutenant Governor, Leticia Van. Mr. President, At what point must a female senator raise her hand or her voice to be recognized? Her simple question sparked the gallery and the nation as much as, if not more than anything I said or did that day. I will never forget Senator West's booming voice filling the chamber after they had muted our microphones. Mr. President, what time is it? That we all so anxiously wanted answered. Nor will I ever forget looking around the Senate floor that day, seeing these supportive faces of Senators Garcia, Uresti, Hinojosa, Rodriguez, and Senator Lucio. And those of our House colleagues who had joined us that day on the floor and without whose help we never would have had an opportunity to filibuster that bill. We and you. We were a team 1 year ago today. We were a team in this incredible exercise of determination and intelligence and passion and just plain old raw Texas fight. The unified chorus of their roars causing the Senate floor to literally vibrate and my legs to tremor. I couldn't see all of you, I couldn't hear all of you, but I felt your voices. I literally felt your voices. I knew that you were there. My staff remembers manning the phones. They opened a note from a Republican staffer that read, "I don't want you to use my name, but here's my story." They remember watching my colleagues surround me in those final minutes, all of us raising our hands, signaling, "No, we will not yield." They shared pizza and Pop-Tarts and chapstick and stories, and a few even went to jail. For some news of what was going on inside, the mass of people stretching across the Capitol lawn all the way down to Congress Avenue. Thousands upon thousands zigzagging through trees and trails where giants of Texas history once strolled. The rotunda and its balconies filled with people rising 4 stories high, where those same giants of history, through determination, will, and raw courage, produced our modern-day Texas, the Texas that we love so very much. daughters take their first steps, and in college dorms where they'd survived their first all-nighters together. Standing together with common purpose, we spanned the distance between time, space, and history, joining together not only to protect individual and personal freedom, but to fight together for our voices to be heard. And in those final moments, it was you, the people, who took over that filibuster to shout down the injustice of it all and to usher in a renewed voice of democracy in this state. Even though the crowd outside the Senate chamber didn't exactly know what was going on inside, and even though the crowd inside the chamber didn't know exactly what was going on outside, even though we didn't know anyone was watching besides the folks who filled the gallery and the handful of political insiders who always watch, we functioned as one, and it was an awesome display of democracy. With your stories as I visited with you one by one across the state. Stories told to me through tears of emotion by young women inspired at what it meant to find their own voices. Stories of those who now fear for what the future might hold. Stories of families faced with heartbreaking decisions who feel they have nowhere safe to turn. Stories of frustration, anger, and fear that our government, our state government, doesn't trust its own people, doesn't trust individuals and families to make these very personal decisions for themselves. And a state government that refuses to provide the healthy care that they need. At the end of each story, you sum up what that day was all about, how it impacted you, how it empowered you. And so I think the filibuster just 1 year ago today was validation that people do want and need somebody to stand up to speak truth to power. Someone to say that it was so much more than just folks believing that their voices can matter on a specific issue like reproductive rights and access to health care for women. It's that your voices do matter, plain and simple, because we live in a democracy, and in a democracy, every voice truly does matter. As much as we filibuster. And health care for women, we filibuster to fight against an abuse of power by political insiders who look out for themselves and their allies instead of hardworking Texans. Insiders who did everything they could to shut me up, shut down our filibuster, and silence the voices of Texans across this state. But I'll tell you what, we would not be silenced then, and we will not be silenced now. Because our work is not yet done. We speak up and we fight back to take our state away from failed leaders who don't think that every child deserves a fair shot, who force the layoff of teachers, who overcrowd our classrooms and sell out our future. We speak up and we fight back to take our state away from that old insider network that helps payday lenders exploit Texas veterans and military families across this state. We speak up and we fight back to take our state away from politicians like Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick who think they know better than a woman, her family, her doctor, and her God. Politicians who close down health centers across the state in their quest to make abortion illegal, even in cases of rape and incest. Politicians who don't want to talk about the fact that they shut down access to basic health services like birth control and life-saving cancer screenings for tens of thousands of women when those centers close or will likely close in just a little over a month. Yes, it is time that we have leaders who fight for our kids instead of fighting them in court. It's time. Just a select few. It's time for someone who will keep our Texas promise, the promise that says, in this state, at this time, no one gets left behind. And that's why I'm here. That's why this is our year. Finish this with you because I know that I am not standing here alone. Together, I know we can win the war that we are fighting together this year. We can win it for the women and the children and the men of this state who want their voices heard in our capital, even on the days when they can't be there themselves. We're going forward. And Texas, we're finishing this fight, and we will win this fight. that each of us has the privilege of possessing. And when we do, our voices will be heard. We will do these things because it's both right and necessary. We've got more work to do, more steps to take, a few more mountains to climb as we face the challenge of building the 21st century economy of this beautiful state. And as we do face those challenges and do these hard things, we will deliver on the promise of Texas, a promise that says, no matter who you are,